This is Kat for Loop TV, and we're at the Grand in Brighton, where we're catching up with Mr. Paul Oakenfold on his way to a local gig. How are you doing, sir?
Hanging in there, just woke up.
Let's talk about how it all started for you, because before you were ever a DJ and sort of producer, you worked in A&R, which you did various places. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I worked for a record company called Champion Records. My first signing was Will Smith.
Score.
Yeah, and I thought it was that easy for the rest of my life, and obviously it wasn't. I signed Salt and Pepper. I then went on to work with Def Jam Recordings and alongside Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, and then from there working with Run DMC and Profile. So I was very much in the thick of it in the early days when it came to hip-hop.
That must have stood you in incredibly good stead when you decided to set up Perfecto. That was back in 1989. How has that changed over the years, particularly in sort of your role and how involved you are?
Well, Perfecto specialises really on within the electronic scene. We've had some major success with crossover hits, but we're really about finding new talent, whether it's producers, singers, DJs, and encouraging them, working with them and giving them their platform and area to kind of get on with what they're doing, rather than putting pressure on them and saying, you've got to make a top 40 pop record.
I mean, this has always been the sort of ethos of Perfecto, is to sort of grab new talent and encourage them in developing their careers.
Yeah, we also have gone on to do various club nights. We have a very successful club night in Las Vegas called Planet Perfecto. The club scene in America has really developed. It's really, the electronic sound has become very popular. Vegas, I don't know when the last time you went there, but it's like 13 nightclubs in Las Vegas. It's like Ibiza, it's the new Ibiza. A lot of people from America go there for a long weekend and go to party and have a good time.
In general, there's been a massive demise in sort of physical sales anyway, and you must have seen a huge change in the industry in the last 20 years. I mean, how's that sort of affected you in terms of sort of revenue streams? And
a good question, because it's affected everyone in a really bad way. I mean, look at it this way, we used to sell 200,000-300,000 units of certain artists on Perfecto. These days, as we're all socially aware, a lot of music is ripped, and you tend not to sell nowhere near that kind of figure. And there are a lot of people who make up the bigger circle of putting music together, and those people, from the singers, the engineers, the producers, the writers, in some respect need to get paid.
And I mean, as it's sort of become increasingly difficult in terms of physical sales to collect royalties and allow revenue streams in that way, do you think the onus is on the artist to diversify? I mean, you've very much been a pioneer of going to other mediums and diversifying in terms of film scores or commercials.
Yeah, I mean, in some respects, yeah. I mean, I think that a modern artist has to do a lot more than they did many years ago. And I encourage and talk to the artists that I sign. They've got to have their own website. They've got to be out there promoting their music. They're gone are the days of just signing a record company and sitting there and expecting the record company to do everything. You have to approach it in a different way now, because quite rightly, as you said, a lot of music is being ripped, and unless you're out there doing your part, it's difficult.
What's your sort of setup that you take with you when you DJ?
I try and stay away from laptops. I think that it loses the essence and soul of a performer. You could, in some respects, just be checking your emails. I think it doesn't look good in some respect, but then if you're actually taking DJing to much more of a live performance and you've got keyboards and you're doing overdubs, then it's part of your setup. And I think that's the next step that will come with DJing. But I come from the old school. I love the art of playing. I love the movement and the liveness of the performance. So I just use CDs. You still have a lot of movement in terms of what you had when you played vinyl.
Obviously, you must have been using CDJs for years. Have you seen the new CDJ 2000s?
I have. I mean, I was involved with Pioneer in the early days, and I road tested that. And with a 2000, we've been road testing it at the club in Vegas, and it's great. I mean, one thing that they have done that I think I've been thinking about doing is you literally could turn up with two little chips, put them into your CD players, and you've got this visual readout, which is like a library. So you still keeping the art of DJing, you've still got the movement. In terms of the set, you can still work out arrangement, structure and key, but you just turn up with two little chips in your headphones.
What have you got lined up? New releases coming out on Perfecto?
Yeah, more of the same in the respect of conversations about a new movie. Since once I return from this tour, I'll be finishing up my new artist album, which is called Pop Killer. We've got Knowles Barkley, One Republic, Red Hot Chili Peppers are on the album, so I've got some big names and also some new talent. That Infected Mushroom, Spitfire, which is a new artist out of LA, Bad Apples, which are like an indie band out of LA. So I think I've got a good balance of what's working, and the record is very much a club record. I'm certainly not trying to make a pop record. I did that with my first album, and I want to kind of just get back more to making a real record that works in the clubs.
Nice floor filler for Christmas, or for next Christmas maybe. Any idea when we can expect the release?
Well, the first single will be March, and then the album will roll out after that.
And back to the studio for you.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you very much for taking some time with us. This is Kat here for Loop TV with Mr. Paul Oakenfold.